Brent here. Today, I wanted to share with you the importance of learning from anybody, regardless of age or status or anything for that matter. Everybody has some sort of a strength or some knowledge that possibly they only know. Uh, Only if you really listen carefully or keep open minded and then trying to have this attitude that you may learn something from the other side. But then you have to kind of steer the conversation sometimes. If you kind of talk in a generality or unfocused, then whoever the person you're interacting with might just talk something else that they're not really knowledgeable about. But I think a lot of times, like people have an issue of learning things and the progressing because of the ego. You meet certain or the bias. Where you meet somebody, you kind of assume that then just because the way they look or the way they speak or their age, this guy's too young or this guy's too old or what are they, or like the way they look, whatever they possess, and then based on that, you make a judgment and you're not really try to learn. Of course, like everybody has the useful knowledge that you need, right? That's not the point. But then there is always interesting things, and you might not know that somebody's ideas can be effective to improve your life. So, for instance, like let's say if you got stuck in certain like difficulty, and then you might just kind of like explain the situation, and then you might ask that person's idea. Maybe the idea you might disagree, but then if somebody can actually explain well the reasonings, and then if you try to understand and it makes sense, and then that type of things can come from anywhere. Because like a lot of times, like when you get stuck in some sort of problems, you are within yourself, so it's really hard to see yourself, like because you're already emotionally very involved, and the emotion is crowding your analytical ability. But then other people has no emotional involvement, so they can actually see through better. Of course, you have to always sift from the noise, but then the more you are open-minded and more the number of people you ask, the chance that you will hit the right answer that you can understand and that you can apply to your life better would increase. So if somebody is, let's say, doing well in life, no matter what kind of age they are in, first just observe if this guy is a real or not, right? Like the way they talk when you are having a conversation, making sure that you ask specifics. You don't want to talk about some kind of generality because everybody can talk some generality and then you can't really verify yourself. But then ask some specific questions, and if they know what they're talking about, you ask deeper, and so forth. So first, like observe, just a lot of times humans have an emotion called like envy. Like if somebody's doing well, that you don't want to listen to that person's like opinions or something. You want to just dismiss. Don't do it. Anybody could have some sort of like idea that you might need to hear, even though the idea that it's shit, so to speak. You actually have a knowledge that these ideas are not great. That's a knowledge itself. And if something you think it's a good idea and that person is implementing the idea is doing better than you, that's your chance. So one thing I would really recommend is to find somebody who are doing better than you in some aspect. I'm not saying like whatever the money or anything, just certain things that you admire about them. Okay, you might hate 99% of what they're doing, or you can associate, but the one thing that this person is doing better than you, and then you might ask that person that, okay, how you are doing it, and then you're gonna find out the very interesting solution that you probably haven't really figured it out. It doesn't matter how old they are, like as long as they show the results, that's what you want to get. Now, you don't want to just copy. There is a saying, good artists copy, great ones steal. What I mean by that is it's not like you steal in a real sense. You just don't copy, just imitate what they do. Because your situation, like let's say your body, your mind, your circumstances, are very different than the other person. So you have to adapt. So that's what I mean by steal. You really don't need to ask too much, like permission or, okay, can I use that your methodology? You just incorporate to your life and then make it fit to your life, and then somehow the person that you get the idea from is doing better than you. Then just incorporate, and that's how you. Each time you meet somebody, you incorporate the better ideas, and it doesn't have to be a live human being, right? Like it could be a podcast, like some kind of news source or article or books, whatever they are. If you keep open-minded and if you can observe that information and apply it to make your life better, that's how your life get exponentially better. Just because one thing we really have to understand is humans are very limited in a perceptive sense. Like if we don't have the outside perspective, we tend to just stuck in our bias. So find somebody that is doing better than you. So get rid of your ego. It's better to be in a room that who are doing, like everybody's doing better than you. Then you're gonna be the guy who are at the top, because then it's so boring, right? There's nothing to learn from any one of them. So choose your environment as well. Whoever doing well, approach it with humility, no ego. It doesn't matter. Even if somebody's doing it better, is like 6-year-old, for instance, then learn something from it. That's the attitude that you really want to have to make your life better, because not a lot of people have that, good ideas. As long as you do that and then learn from the best that you can access to, then your life will be a lot better. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe and like and write a comment so everybody can benefit. I will see you next time.